1923, Season 2, Episode 7, is about to unleash chaos, heartbreak, and a brutal clash for survival. As the Duttons face unimaginable challenges, the end of this season promises a ride filled with explosive confrontations, devastating losses, and shocking twists. But who will make it out alive? Will the Duttons finally reach Montana, or will they fall victim to the unforgiving world around them? Get ready for the most intense chapter yet. The journey to Montana has never been so perilous. With each passing episode, 1923 has thrust its characters into situations that seem almost impossible to survive. The Duttons, along with everyone tied to their fate, are battling not just against their enemies, but against Mother Nature herself. And in Episode 7, the pressure reaches its boiling point. One of the most compelling storylines this season has been Tiana's. After enduring the brutal loss of her father and lover and taking matters into her own hands by killing Father Renaud, Tiana's path seems like it might finally reach its conclusion. But don't be fooled. Episode 7 will prove that her story is far from over. As Marshall Mame closes in on her, Tiana faces the cold reality that her actions might have led her to the edge of no return. However, there's more at play than meets the eye. In a world where justice is scarce and survival is key, Tiana will plead her case before Mame. She'll argue that she's not a criminal, just a young woman fighting to survive in a world that's constantly breaking her down. The weight of her loss, her pain, and the choices she's made will pour out in a tense moment that could determine her future. At first, Mame will want to imprison her, seeing her as a threat, a danger that needs to be dealt with. But then, a shocking revelation will shift the course of this moment, a revelation that will change everything. Tiana is pregnant. That truth will be a turning point, one that could give her a chance to start over. But this revelation doesn't just affect Tiana, it sets the stage for her eventual return to Montana. As we know, she's destined to become the grandmother of Thomas Rainwater. But for now, that future is still a mystery, one that will unfold in future seasons. However, not all stories in 1923 are about survival and second chances. Take Alexandra, for example. She's far from safe, stranded in the wilderness, buried under snow, with a dead woman in her car. Alexandra's only hope of survival is slipping away by the minute. She ignored every warning, pushed ahead on her journey without thinking of the consequences, and now she's paying the ultimate price. The harshness of the environment is unforgiving, and it's clear that Alexandra's life is hanging by a thread. The question on everyone's mind is simple: will she survive? Episode 7 will lean into the tragedy of her situation, pushing her closer to death with every passing moment. Rumors suggest that this may be the end for Alexandra. Some say the season finale will begin with a chilling image: Alexandra frozen to death alongside her dead friend. It's one of the most tragic possibilities, especially given that she's pregnant. What could be worse than that? The harsh reality is that it was always unlikely she would make it to Montana. The story has been setting us up for this grim ending all along, and it seems her fate is sealed. But don't think for a second that things are slowing down. In fact, just as one character faces the cold grip of death, another is about to enter the battlefield. Spencer. After what feels like an eternity of setbacks, he's finally on his way to Montana. But even then, nothing comes easy for a Dutton. As he travels, a brutal snowstorm threatens to slow him down, and the tension rises as we wonder if fate is conspiring against him. At the train station, a woman points out how unusual this spring weather is, a warning that no one can ignore. The Duttons' battle against nature, fate, and their enemies is only just beginning. And Spencer is about to learn that survival isn't just about reaching his destination, it's about fighting to stay alive long enough to make it there. Spencer's journey to Montana has been nothing short of a saga. After hopping from one dangerous situation to another, from train stations to wilderness, always with the looming threat of enemies on his tail, he's shown incredible resilience. But Episode 7 is where his perseverance will be put to the ultimate test. The Duttons have faced a lifetime of battles, but Spencer's struggle is different. He's not only fighting for his survival, but for the legacy of the Dutton family. His journey to Montana isn't just a personal mission, it's about protecting everything the Dootons have worked for. His arrival at the train station promises to be a turning point, but getting there is far from easy. The snowstorm, the treacherous terrain, and most dangerously, the relentless hitman sent by Donald Whitfield are all part of the storm Spencer must weather. As Spencer nears his destination, Whitfield's men are closing in. The tension is palpable. In a heart-pounding sequence, Spencer will find himself in the midst of a brutal fight for his life, not just with nature, but with Whitfield's hired assassins. Fans of action sequences won't be disappointed. Spencer, with nothing but his wit and his strength, will engage in a high-intensity battle on the train, trying to take down one of Whitfield's men before it's too late. This is Spencer's moment to shine, but it's also a reminder of how everything he's been through has led him to this point alone, battered but not ready to give up. The upcoming sequence isn't just about Spencer fighting for his life, it's also about the larger stakes at play. He's not just fighting for himself, he's fighting for his family, for everything the Duttons stand for. His journey to Montana has been long and grueling, but it's not over yet. Spencer might have taken down one enemy, but when he steps off the train at the station, he'll walk right into another fight. This time, it will be an all-out shootout between Jacob, the sheriff's men, and Donald Whitfield's forces. The intensity will escalate, and the stakes will only get higher as Spencer is forced into a battle with Whitfield's men on all fronts. This isn't just a fight for survival, it's a fight for the future of the Dutton family. Will Spencer make it through this fight? Or will the Duttons lose yet another member in this merciless world? But while Spencer is facing down Whitfield's hitmen, there's another battle raging far from the train station, the one at the Yellowstone Ranch. The Duttons' home, their sanctuary, is about to become the next battleground in this ongoing war for survival. And this time, it's not just the men fighting to protect their legacy. Cara Dutton, the matriarch, will step up in a way we've never seen before. Cara has always been a force to be reckoned with, but Episode 7 will push her to new limits. As Spencer and Jacob are caught in a shootout, Cara will be left to defend the ranch against Whitfield's men. She's not just protecting a piece of land, she's protecting what's left of her family, ensuring that Spencer has something to come back to when the dust settles. This will be a pivotal moment for Cara, showing her strength and determination like never before. And let's be honest, who wouldn't want to see Helen Mirren with a rifle in her hand, taking down the bad guys one by one? It's a moment we've all been waiting for, and it will be worth every second. Cara isn't just going to sit back and let the ranch fall into chaos, she's going to fight, and she's going to fight hard. But while the Duttons are locked in battle, the heartbreak continues to unfold. Elizabeth's grief is about to take a devastating turn, and the emotional weight of Jack's death will threaten to consume her. Elizabeth has been through so much already, but the loss of her husband will push her to her breaking point. The pain of his death will spiral her into a dangerous state of despair, and her mental and emotional state will become a ticking time bomb. Cara, in her role as protector of the Duttons, will not only have to defend the ranch, but also ensure that Elizabeth is safe. The grief that has consumed her could put her unborn child at risk, and Cara will have to make sure she doesn't fall too deep into her sorrow. In this moment, we will see Elizabeth transform. The overwhelming grief will force her to rise up and fight not just for herself, but for the future of the Dutton legacy. The pain of losing Jack will drive Elizabeth to pick up a rifle and take down the men who took her husband from her. As she fights, we will witness a transformation, a shift from the grieving widow to a full-fledged Dutton warrior. Elizabeth will stop being just a bystander in this battle and will become a key player, proving that the Dutton women are just as fierce as their men. The battle for the Yellowstone Ranch will be a defining moment, not just for Spencer and Jacob, but for Cara and Elizabeth as well. In this episode, we'll see the strength of the Dutton family tested like never before as they fight not just for survival, but for the legacy of everything they hold dear. And with so much on the line, there's no telling who will make it out of this battle alive. The Dutton family's battle to secure their future is about to reach its boiling point in 1923. We've seen countless hardships, betrayals, and unimaginable obstacles, But the final chapters of this season are gearing up to be the most intense and devastating yet. Episode 7 is setting the stage for a full-on collision between the Duttons and their enemies. The stakes couldn't be higher. Every action, every decision, will be a matter of life or death, and it's unclear who will emerge victorious or who will fall. Throughout this season, Taylor Sheridan has been slowly tightening the grip around our favorite characters. Whether it's Spencer fighting to reunite with his family, Alexandra's increasingly dire situation, or the escalating threats against the Yellowstone Ranch, the tension has been building steadily. But in this penultimate episode, everything begins to crash together. The calm before the storm is over, and now the storm is coming in full force. While Spencer fights to stay alive and make it to Montana, the question everyone is asking is, will he make it in time? Even with all the progress he's made, the journey is still perilous. Episode 7 is going to push Spencer to his absolute limits. His fight for survival is not just against the elements, but against the hitmen sent by Donald Whitfield. These men are relentless, and they won't stop until Spencer is dead. As Spencer faces off against these assassins, it's clear that he's in a race against time. His struggle to stay alive is mirrored by the epic showdown between Jacob, Spencer, and Whitfield's men. The tension will be unbearable as gunshots ring out, lives hang in the balance, and the Duttons face an all-out battle for control. The action-packed sequence at the train station is just the beginning of a blood-soaked conflict that will determine the fate of the Dutton family. As Spencer Dutton cuts through Whitfield's mercenaries like a storm, an even greater battle brews, one that will erupt in blood and fire at the heart of the Yellowstone Ranch. Whitfield, the shadow that has loomed over the Duttons all season, makes his final, brutal play. This isn't just an attack on their land, it's an annihilation of their legacy. And standing in his way are two women who refuse to fall. Cara Dutton is no longer just the family's backbone, she's its sword and shield. Rifle in hand, eyes burning with defiance, she meets the invaders head-on. This is war, and Cara fights not as a matriarch, but as a force of nature. Her resolve is unbreakable, her aim deadly. Whitfield wanted a war. He'll learn too late that the Duttons don't just survive, they destroy. Elizabeth, shattered by Jack's death, rises from grief like a phoenix. The woman who once sought solace in love now finds strength in fury. With a gun in her grip and vengeance in her heart, she fights not just for the family she married into, but for the child growing inside her. This is her reckoning. By the time the smoke clears, Elizabeth won't just be a Dutton by name, she'll be one by blood and bullet. But victory comes at a cost. The Duttons have always been willing to pay in blood, but this time, the price may be too high. Alliances crumble. Betrayals cut deep. And as the battle rages, one truth becomes clear. In the world of the Duttons, no one walks away unscarred. Meanwhile, Tiana's fate takes a stunning turn. Pregnant and hunted, she stands at a crossroads, one that leads her back to Montana. Marshall Mead's discovery changes everything. She was a fugitive. Now, she's the key to a legacy not yet written. The season finale isn't just a battle, it's a revolution. The Duttons will fight, bleed, and burn to protect what's theirs. But when the dust settles, nothing will ever be the same. Who will make it out alive? And who will pay the ultimate price for the Duttons' dream? As we move closer to the season finale, 1923 pulls no punches when it comes to the emotional cost of the Duttons' fight for survival. Episode 7 is not just a series of action-packed sequences or tense confrontations. It's a poignant look at how grief, loss, and the weight of family loyalty affect each character in profound and devastating ways. This season has already tested the Duttons in unimaginable ways, but Episode 7 will push them beyond their limits, forcing them to confront not only their external enemies, but the inner turmoil that threatens to tear them apart. The most heart-wrenching storyline revolves around Elizabeth. The tragic loss of Jack, her husband, has already cast a dark shadow over her life, but in Episode 7, the pain will reach its breaking point. Elizabeth's grief is overwhelming, unbearable even. She is consumed by sorrow, and in her heartache, she risks losing herself completely. But grief is not just an emotional battle, it's a physical and mental one. Elizabeth's mourning will put her health and her unborn child's life at risk. In these moments of despair, the Dutton women will truly shine. Kara, as the matriarch, is not just leading the charge in battle, she is also stepping in to protect Elizabeth from herself. In a world so brutal, where everything seems to be falling apart, Kara's strength and wisdom will be the anchor that keeps her family from completely unraveling. She knows the cost of survival, knows that the Duttons are marked by death and loss, but she's not going to let Elizabeth face this grief alone. As Elizabeth teeters on the edge of emotional collapse, Kara will help guide her back from the brink. Their bond will become the emotional backbone of this episode. Kara's ability to hold her family together, even in the darkest times, will be a reminder of the fierce love that binds the Duttons. This is not just a family of survivors. This is a family that will fight for one another at all costs, even when the weight of the world threatens to crush them. But while Kara will help Elizabeth recover emotionally, the grief will remain a constant, gnawing force that will shape her character in ways we'll see in future seasons. Elizabeth's grief will be the catalyst for a powerful transformation. Instead of continuing to succumb to despair, she will rise up in anger, determination, and the will to protect what's left of her family. Picking up a rifle for the first time, Elizabeth will take action not just for herself, but for the future of her child and the Dutton legacy. Her pain will fuel a desire for vengeance, a need to make those who have hurt her pay. The emotional arc that began with Jack's death will culminate in Elizabeth becoming a full-fledged Dutton warrior. The woman who once had no part in the Dutton legacy will now be a critical piece of it. And as she faces down the forces that threaten her family, she will become a symbol of the fierce resilience that runs through the Dutton bloodline. While Elizabeth's journey unfolds, we cannot ignore the larger theme of loss that haunts the Duttons. They've been through so much. Losing family members and friends and their land has been under constant threat. But it's not just the loss of life that weighs on them, it's the sense of impending doom that lingers in the air. As the show continues to build toward its climax, the question remains unanswered. Can the Duttons ever truly win, or will their fight only lead to more heartache? The season finale is going to deliver some gut-wrenching moments. It's not just about who survives the shootouts or who takes down Whitfield's men. It's about the toll this constant battle takes on everyone involved. For the Duttons, survival has never been guaranteed, and Episode 7 will make that more apparent than ever. The emotional scars of the family will be as visible as the physical ones. As the Duttons struggle to maintain their grip on everything they've built, they'll be forced to reckon with the harsh reality that the cost of their survival might be too high. Tiana's story, too, holds a mirror to the emotional journey that the Duttons are experiencing. She, too, has suffered unimaginable loss: her father, her lover, and now the law is breathing down her neck. Yet, despite everything, there is a flicker of hope for Tiana. Her pregnancy will offer her a new purpose, a chance to change her destiny. The revelation of her pregnancy will be a moment of profound change, not just for her, but for everyone around her. In Episode 7, Tiana will be given a chance at redemption, but this path is not without its own emotional turmoil. Her future is uncertain, and as she is granted the opportunity to start over, she'll have to confront the emotional weight of the choices she's made and the uncertain future that awaits her in Montana. But Tiana's future is still tied to the Duttons. We know that her connection to the family will become crucial in the long-term story. She may be fleeing her past, but her journey is inevitably tied to the legacy of the Duttons. As the season draws to a close, we're left with a lingering question: how will her story intertwine with the Duttons in the future? Tiana's fate is not sealed in Episode 7, but her story is far from over. The grief, the action, the revenge, the survival, all of these themes are coming to a head. 1923 has masterfully balanced the personal and the epic, making every character's story feel interconnected and essential to the larger narrative. As Episode 7 prepares to set the stage for the season finale, the question remains: can the Duttons ever truly escape the storms that have plagued them for so long, or will this fight be their last? As we hurtle toward the explosive season finale, 1923 has already set the stage for a heart-pounding and emotional culmination that will leave viewers on the edge of their seats. Episode 7 will act as the tipping point, pushing the Duttons to their absolute limits physically, emotionally, and morally. The stakes are higher than ever before, and every choice made in this episode will carry massive consequences that will echo through the final moments of the season. The culmination of Spencer's long, grueling journey to Montana will be an intense, action-packed sequence. While he's faced multiple dangers along the way, none compare to the storm waiting for him at the train station. The hitmen sent by Whitfield will make their final, desperate push to take Spencer out before he can ever step foot on Dutton land. Spencer, however, is not someone who will be easily beaten. As he faces down Whitfield's men, the fight will be brutal, a raw test of his will to survive and to protect his family at all costs. But even if Spencer makes it past this deadly confrontation, the battle is far from over. The true war begins when Spencer arrives at the station, only to find himself walking straight into an all-out firefight. The stakes have shifted. Spencer isn't just fighting for his life anymore. He's fighting for the future of the Dutton family